So it may be creating increased stimulation of your head, and as you know, the mattress pad at a 10 for some people, for many people in fact, can be overstimulating, especially at bedtime. So what you probably want to do is to finish off your treatment at bedtime with an increased amount of the whole body treatment, mattress pad. Okay, at that setting 1. So I would consider either 16 minutes, maybe even 24 minutes if you need to. What you have to do, and this is true about anything that we talk about here, there are no hard and fast rules. And myself as a physician, every time I treat anybody with anything, it's an experiment of one. Each of us every day is a little different than the previous day. We're not all consistently the same, or the only time we can be consistently the same is probably when we're dead, and even then our bodies begin to decay. So nothing ever stands still. So you may not have exactly the same experience from day to day. Just listen to your body, and once you've used the system for a long enough period of time, you begin to know, well, today I need 16 minutes. Tonight I only need 8 minutes. Use your intuition. Use your gut feeling about how much you need and what you need at a given point in time. But do take the feedback from your body about what you really should be doing.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I have a tough one for you.
Tough one.
Is how about polycythemia vera?
Polycythemia vera. That one is a tough one. Well,
you may think about it and talk about it maybe next month.
Well, why don't you share with us what polycythemia vera is caused by?
Well, it's a myeloproliferative disease where you have too many red blood cells.
Okay, your body's overproducing red blood cells.
Right.
Overstimulated.
Right.
All right. A basic principle of magnetic fields is like acupuncture. It's a similar principle to acupuncture. The body tends to, some of the research is showing that a regular or routine but not excessive amount of use of pulse magnetic fields tends to rebalance the body. Normal tissue does not typically respond to pulse magnetic fields because what happens is normally the body's own rebalancing systems, or what we call homeostatic mechanisms, tend to rebalance it. Where there's pathology, the body has lost its ability to rebalance in that particular area or for that particular problem. Same thing would apply with excessive formation of red blood cells, polycythemia. So what you would expect with the pulse magnetic field is that it would help to normalize the bone marrow. If the bone marrow is overstimulated, perhaps by infection, perhaps by the autoimmune system, may be able to, over time, rebalance the body. What I would be concerned about with polycythemia is that because it's probably an autoimmune system as opposed to a purely genetic problem, then what I would do is to start off with very low settings, because you could temporarily, by increasing circulation and increasing or stimulating a change in the system away from the balance. Even though it's an abnormal balance, it's still a balance in the body. So what we do is we start off very gently, allow the body to acclimate to the magnetic field, let the magnetic field stimulation just begin to take action in the body, and then gradually over time, as the person is starting to feel better, or you're starting to see changes in the red cell count, then you can gradually increase the amount of field exposure. With a very bad case of polycythemia, what I would also be inclined to do would be to not use it for long periods of time. So I would start at setting 1, only use it 8 minutes twice a day, but you have to look at this as a very long-term therapy. I would not consider it to be something that's going to cure polycythemia or control it within a week or 2 weeks. It's a lifetime problem, and I think you have to think of it as a health maintenance system for a lifetime problem.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Unfortunately, I don't have any specifics because there aren't any specific studies on polycythemia itself. But I think using the physiologic principles of the magnetic field, you can see how it could potentially help just generically.
I see that.
Any other questions?
Hi, Dr. Pollack. It's Janet.
Hi.
Hi, I have a question. Does it matter with the settings how many body fat a person has? Since if it's something deep inside the body, if a person has more body fat, the field's got to travel a longer distance. Does that really matter?
Well, there's some discussion about that, and I don't know that. It depends on the problem, whether that's going to make any difference or not. It's true what you said, that the bigger the mass of the body, the farther off the tissue is from the mattress surface, then the more field you need. What's interesting about pulse magnetic fields is that fields even weaker, much weaker than the QRS, have actually been found to have therapeutic benefits. I've always struggled with why that could be possible. There's a wonderful book by James Oxman, O-C-H-S-M-A-N, called Energy Medicine. And again, if you're going to be working with magnetics extensively, I strongly recommend reading it, because he begins to get into why, from a physics perspective, it's even possible for these extremely weak fields to have actions in the body. Because the body is mostly water, and it's what we call a liquid crystal matrix, you get amplification of fields extensively through the body. So even very weak fields will still have significant action. The musculoskeletal problems that I was referring to earlier, or osteoporosis, where you want a much stronger field, yes, the field drops off significantly. So presumably, a person who is much bigger laying on the mattress pad will need more stimulation. You cannot get higher on the QRS than the 10. So one of the principles I use, if you need more juice, then what you have to do is to spend more time. So if you need more activity from the magnetic fields, you're just going to have to spend more time on the mattress. And what happens then is that amplification system in the liquid crystal matrix amplifies, it builds up in the body to like a crescendo or a plateau. So 8 minutes may not work, and for a thin person like Christina, 8 minutes is plenty. But for somebody who's very big like me, you may need 16 minutes. Etc. So again, the person's going to have to judge for themselves, given their body and how they respond, how much time they're going to need and what the strength should be. One of the key principles, again, is that if you have a hot, active metabolic condition or autoimmune process going on, it doesn't matter how big the person is, I would still start off with the lowest level settings with the least amount of time. All right, just be sure that you're not amplifying systems in the body too quickly.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Pollack.
My pleasure.
What would you say about a restless leg syndrome?
Restless legs. Okay. This is an interesting challenge for medicine right now, and a lot of the therapies for restless legs are beginning to get oriented towards the brain. In other words, the problem is coming from the brain. It's the control factors and the neurochemistry of the brain is what's causing the restless legs, most likely. And I don't know, it tends to happen in older people than it does in younger people, and I don't know whether it may have some relationship with snoring. People who tend to have problems with snoring, sleep on their backs, may be more likely to have it. But what you probably could do is, the first thing to do is to obviously just try general treatments with the QRS for the whole body. If after you get up to the maximum amount, like 10, and you're doing it for 30 minutes, say twice a day, and it's not working, then what I would do is I would add the pillow around the head. I would actually take the pillow and wrap the pillow around the head, and then do that treatment. Now, you'd think that since restless legs tends to be more of a problem at bedtime, I know people who have that problem during the day as well, is what you may need to do is just consider that you're going to have to do that increased level of treatment throughout the day, not just at bedtime. Right? So again, you do a whole body treatment to see whether you respond. And what I found what people are finding